pretty darn close. Pretty darn close to the finish line. We're getting there. We're getting there. Do a little story grab song here, and we'll get all warmed up here. How about that, huh? Huh? Don't be shy. Don't be silly. Don't be kind. Just be witty. That's what I grow up hearing all the time. We're gonna talk about that today. A little Willie for the frilly out there. Okay, here we go. Oh, Willie was a friend of mine. He liked to draw in the railroad line. Roll out now. Willie, where have you gone? Oh, yeah. Oh, Willie. Oh, come on now. Willie, where have you gone? Been in the bathroom so long I can't count my friendship. I've been trying to get myself sleeping. I'm not trying to rush you, Willie, but I've got to go. I've got to go real bad. I've got to go real bad. Yeah, that's the Story Grub Club song, everybody. Welcome to the Story Grub Club song show. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff today. We're going to be talking about things like corrugation and irrigation and articulation, all leveled out by the balance of beauty and life that we all share and bring together. Yes, even the silly ones, especially, pardon me, especially the silly ones. Oh, I don't know why I have to make, that noise. But it does, and I don't fight it anymore. I just kind of go with it. I roll with it. You know, as one does, we roll. We roll with the punches, friends. And we dip with the ducks. That's what a friend of mine told me once. He dips, I duck. I quack, he quack. That was a long time ago. In some kind of galaxy far, far away. Nobody was paying attention. Nobody cares about these things, friends. It's up to us. We have to create our own destiny. You know this, just as well as I did. It's called Stardust, my friends.
Well, my old dog, as dumb as he can be, he sees a ghost in nearly every tree.
So right now, I'm just thinking I might be drawing on this for a little bit. Some kind of leaves in the corner there, with little lines through them like that. And it really does accentuate the beauty of nothing. Because nothing is quite beautiful without something in its place. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, then I commend you, because I have no bloody clue what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to fill in the empty silence as best as I can. Asbestos, I can. In a can. Asbestos in a can. Canned asbestos. That sounds delicious. Sounds like an old recipe my grandmama used to make. That's my great grandmother. My grandmama. It's just so much easier to say than grandmother. Just doesn't have the same appeal. Kind of like a banana. You have to peel back the layers to get to the juicy fruit. And that's what Grandmama was all about. She was a brain eater. You know, she liked brains. Mostly human. They made a movie about her. It's a long story. Doesn't really matter at this point. It was so long ago. It was 2013. I mean, who remembers back that far? Certainly not I. That's why I repeat all the same mistakes over and over and over. Like it's cool, like it's going out of fashion. Isn't that special? Well, friends, I think you're special too. And I think you deserve the world. And I really wish my neighbor would turn down his... Oh, he's on the roof playing his guitar again. There he is. Hey, John. Good morning. You're not... Just not gonna look over here. Okay. Fair enough. Can I have my guitar back? No? You're just gonna look west? You're gonna look westward? Like a zephyr. Like a zephyr in the night. Use a zephyrinium. That's my neighbor John. He's quite funny. I let him borrow my guitar 3 years ago, and he's... Every morning around this time, he sits on the roof, stares down into my little studio here, and mocks me by playing my wonderful guitar. It's abalone. The inlay, John. It's abalone. Right. It's not porcelain. What the bloody hell? He doesn't know much about guitars, but he can play pretty well. I guess that's why I'm just so forgiving. Because I'm the same way. And who am I to take my guitar away? Wait a second, it's my guitar. John, I want my guitar back. I'm gonna call the bloody pigs. I forget what they call them in Britain. What do they call coppers over there? What do they call them over there? Isn't there like they don't call them cops. If you're from England, or if you have access to some kind of device that could look up any question or an answer to any question you had, please do it for me right now and figure out what they call cops in Manchester. Coppers. I'm just guessing. No, there's another word for them. Lily brows? No, that's not it. Lily brows is something else. That's like a pastry or something. Sounds really good though. Sounds buttery. I hope everybody's warm and getting some time with the family right now. Spreading some goodness in the world. Oh yeah, this song's pretty cool. This is my friend Speedy Gray from Boise, Idaho. His project called Ragged Coyote.
You know I can hear you
It's a trippy song.
in the silence of the snow,
They just got a bunch of snow up there.
in the bending of the summer trees, in the shimmer on the water. You know I can hear you, the terrible lightning, in the shyness of the moon, in the stillness of the shadows. And it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. You know I can hear you in the darkness of the lane, the whispers in my heart.
Sometimes you just gotta look at something as if it's already there and just start going for it. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. You just gotta go for it.
You know I can hear you.
If that's your thing.
In the reach of your fingers.
Sometimes I get super complacent in life and I just like have to do things to shake it up, you know? This latest shake up is the biggest one of them all though. And there's no going back after this.
It doesn't make any difference.
My body wants to. But my mind says no.
You know I can hear you.
What? You can hear me? Wait.
In the glow of an autumn evening.
Oh, I guess it is. It's not really evening, but okay.
Reflecting on the high prairie lake.
Oh, how'd you know I was on the high prairie?
While the dancing wind blows.
I don't know how to dance.
Music across the listening waters.
we go. Hi, Brenna. Eldon here. How are you, Brenna? I miss our talks. Do you remember when we used to go walking on the lily pad patches as kids? I remember those days, Brenna. You used to share your dreams with me, just like all the stars in the universe above us, whipping past and forth, hurling us through space and time. It was very dramatic. It felt like the future was so far away. But it came so fast in the end, huh? Happens to the best of us. But at least we always have those memories. I'm just sorry that Tony couldn't be here with us to share in the glory of tomorrow and today, that is. The blessing of yesterday's heart and soul, I would say, right? Brenna, I'm a little stoned. I don't know who you are. I thought you were somebody else for a second. I just figure the universe is large. Larger than any of us can ever possibly hope to imagine. And I figure it's time we start acting like it. We need to grow up a little bit, humans. I just hit the down button on the volume once, and it goes all the way to where a mouse's fart can't even hear it. You know, something like that's nice and chill, right? Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna put some teeth in there, and then you know what's interesting? Isn't it the Maui people who from around the area of New Zealand or something like that, islands out there that have when they're the warriors and stuff, they stick their tongues out and things like that, you know? Isn't that interesting how there's so many cultures that do that too? I mean, it's I guess it's a human, maybe a human trait too, to make appear to be more threatening to your enemy or something, which I think is the exact reasoning behind it, maybe. Yeah, but but I think of the Mayan calendar and the face that's in that, and I'm pretty sure the tongue is sticking out in that one too. It's just so fascinating. I always wonder what the hell was happening back here, back in the world, in the just with humanity. I know we were all visiting each other all over the freaking place. I know it. I know it's that. That's kind of what Atlantis was. It was just this huge civilization that was all over the place, and we traveled, and everybody spoke a very common maybe language, you know, a similar one anyways that we could, and that's why hieroglyphs and petroglyphs and all these things came into being, because we were seeing people and come and go all the time and shit, and we were emulating them. Have you ever heard of a cargo cult? You should Google it. Just Google cargo cult. It's a really fascinating thing, and it's not even an ancient thing either. It happened within the last 100 years, but where people think that U.S. Army people who were coming from the sky on landing on their islands were gods, and in order to try to get them to come back, they built replicas of what they thought were their gods, chariots, chariots of the gods, or the airplanes. So they build these huge, kind of really impressive sculptures out of leaves and dirt and mud and all sorts of shit to get them to come back, and they just never came back, you know. But anyways, and they even wrote on the sides of the planes in paint USA and flags whoever was landing on their islands, because they were stationed there for long periods of time, and the people just thought they were gods, and that was back in the 40s. I'm sure it's happened since too, but I think we were just we were all really a lot more connected than people thought, and then there was a huge cataclysm, and it wiped out North America. Just cleaned it. There's a huge flood that wiped out North America and the Yucatan and stuff like that. There was a huge meteor there, wiped out the fucking dinosaurs. But there was one that was happened like what was it? I think the flood there. I think there's a few people that say it was like within the last like 20,000 years or something like that. Because that's why you see all these like crazy, like that's Atlantis, the theory, like Gordon or Graham Hancock and people like that think that it was like the civilization that just lived along the coasts, because it was like a seafaring civilization, and when these cataclysms happened, the sea levels rose like practically overnight, and there was just cataclysmic events happening all over the place, and the people were drawing them, and that's why there's so many like weird like spiral drawings and like just star drawings. They were seeing what they were seeing in the sky back then was doesn't have to be UFOs even, it's just the the magnetic fields and everything, and the moon, all these different, all in the planets were aligned differently way back when too. So they were seeing different shapes and different patterns in the sky because of our world and what it was going through at the time. And they just associated all that with the gods. And I mean, this I'm talking about ancient shit now, but I'm sorry, I'm also all over the place. Me too. I just love ancient art, and I just love thinking about like the people in the caves in France. Like, what the fuck were they doing? Like, why were they? It's like one thing to do that in a cave, but and spend all that time doing that, all detail, and it's just like such amazing work. And they were using like the form of the cave to create animals, like to create three-dimensional shapes and things using the contours of the cave, and and then why weren't they doing? I mean, they were doing that outside, I'm sure, but maybe it got washed away. That's true. I never thought about that. Because I'm like, why don't you find wonderful pieces like that outside? And that's like, oh yeah, weather. It's not like they had art galleries. The art galleries were the caves, and that's what preserved them. Thank God for that too. That we're able to like, because I just hate when people look at people that are not as civilized as us and call them like savages and shit. It's like, what are you talking about? Look at us today, man. Like, we're fucking horrible people today, stepping over people in the street, not knowing if they're even dead or just homeless, or sleeping. We're horrid. We're a horrid race. There's wonderful people out there, but they are, nice people are, it's like polishing a turd. Doesn't mean you should stop being nice, because people deserve kindness. But it is a wretched world. I didn't mean for the phone or the camera to be moving so much. I didn't know it's doing that. Maybe that'll help. Hi, Inky. I think I'm gonna start writing a country western album, and I'm gonna start booking shows under a country western singer name, and I'm gonna start going out and playing it. I've been talking about this a lot on my live streams, just because I feel like I'm getting myself. I'm trying to psych myself up to get to do it. But I gotta start small. I gotta start like I want to start compiling footage. I gotta just go out and busk as Blight, and just be like super charming, like out in public, where people think I'm gonna be like singing about like politics or something, but I'm just like singing about how nice they look that day or something like that. It's not very often you see a country western style folk or a person, individual, out there busking on the street. With a sense of humor, anyways. I think it would be kind of funny, and then like get people's reactions. I look kind of funny with like a shaved face though. I feel like if I was gonna do blight, I would need to like grow my facial hair out. And I've been shaving for the past few months now, and I just feel really weird about growing facial hair. I used to have absolutely no problem with that. I didn't shave for 44 fucking years. As far as like with a razor blade, I would kind of like, use those shaver things to like just shave my face, but it wasn't like a razor like I have been doing lately. And now, so like even like right now, I feel my face and I have facial hair, and I'm like, ugh. Which is, if I'm gonna play blight, and if I'm gonna even be on the road for like even like a week, I need to get used to having facial hair. But I'm such a dork now. Imagine going 44 years, not ever thinking about things like that, and then like just one day you're just like, I'm gonna shave my face every day, and my neck hates me. It's like always bloody, and I can't shave right. My dad never taught me how to shave, but I didn't have to shave until I was like 25. I'm so Irish or Scottish that like I don't even have like, I didn't start growing facial hair until I was like, yeah, I couldn't grow like a chin hair until I was like 22. Sorry, I had to pet my cat. I had to give her a little kiss on the head. She looks so cute. Yeah, and it's crazy too how they keep just like how they keep finding things that are just older and older and older. Like some of the pyramids in the Yucatan, like in New Mexico City, are the biggest in the fucking world. Like they're bigger than the Great Pyramid, and they know that because of the foundation that they've been finding in like the jungles down there. Because now they can do like the scanning, and they can just scan the jungle, and they can go right down to the stone level or whatever, or dirt level or whatever it's called, and look at the foundations of these pyramids and these structures and stuff, and they were so massive that it's just, I mean, the jungle probably wasn't even there at the time, like most of it, or it was very much under control. And it's because it's amazing how fast the jungle will take over too if you just leave it alone. And that's what happens I think that's what's going on in China too. There's a ton of pyramids in China, but they purposefully cover them up so people don't know what's going on with them. And then they like plant trees on them and stuff. It's crazy. That's the kind of stuff I think about when I all the time, really. I'm just always I love ancient art, but then I like think to myself like, but what were they, why was like art so, it's one thing to just like jot down ideas, like some of the petroglyphs look like they're just like sketches almost or something, like stick figures, like one would expect from like a primitive, so-called primitive people. But then you look at how their brains were working when they're creating art, and you think about making art or making what they did under the pressures that they did, under in the world that they were living in, like with the priorities that they had, and they were creating works of art that, I mean, I'm talking about, I'm not necessarily talking about the Egyptians or the ancients making pyramids here in Mexico. I just mean like, um, and by here in Mexico, I mean this hemisphere. Um, yeah. Anywho, I just, I think about why I make art, a lot, because I always have. And for a long time last year, I was like, that was my big question, and I even like would like to make a documentary about it, and just go to people that I respect and admire and be like, why do you do it? Why do you do it? People big and small. People that, I don't know if you've ever heard of I think it's Henry Darger, the dude who just like lived in above like a cinema, and he was like this 80-year-old dude who died, and after he died, people like found that all this art that he had made and like this universe of like weird, creepy little hermaphroditic children and stuff that ruled the world, and he like had just created all these crazy pieces of art that nobody had ever even seen. He was just like a projectionist at some theater all of his life. This little old man, and never even showed his work, and then they just found it after he died. And for a long time, I really admired that, and I thought that I wanted to be somebody like that, you know. But I want to share my stuff. If I could be a projectionist all my life and have my own place to live and just make art in quiet, I would. I absolutely would do that. But that's not how the world is anymore. I mean, that's practically what I did last year, except that I had Instagram and I was sharing my work. But the pieces that I have a show next year in May here in town. And I wasn't even planning on showing those pieces because those are the pieces that like pretty much brought me back to life. And they changed me for the better, I think. Just a series of pieces I did under extreme isolation. And I didn't even want to ever show art ever again or play my guitar. Or I didn't even want to breathe anymore. I was just tired, confused. Until I realized that, you know, like I've said before here on this channel, so forgive me if I sound like a broken record. But it's like in those movies when, you know, at the very end when the person realizes that the power was within them all along or whatever, you know. Until I realized that that actually was freaking true, I was totally lost. And then one day I was like, hold on a second. Pump the brakes. Oops, shit, sorry. I'm not used to this table. And then I just decided that I didn't want to be like that anymore. And I kind of slipped back into my negativity here and there, but it's getting easier to recognize it before it happens. And when it happens, I have better tools to combat it. And that's the important thing too. It's okay to feel bad and to feel the way you do, but if you don't like it, you got to find tools to pull yourself out of it. Because I get to a point where it just feels good feeling bad. I'm just so used to it, where it's like comforting, you know? And I don't think that's a good way to live. Not for you, not for the people around you. I don't like the idea of people just being sad out there and alone without the tools to. I don't know. I think that's where loving yourself comes into play, but again, loving yourself doesn't mean masturbating or something like that. It means searching your soul and looking behind your eyes and finding out who you are. That way you can masturbate even better. No, I just mean so you can be of service to the world and to you yourself. You know, once you realize that you can be of service to yourself and make your life better just by perceiving, just by your own perception, and how you're holding yourself back. God, I sound like Tony Robbins or something. Because it's the kind of shit like people, you won't. It won't happen until you choose to make it happen. It's like quitting drugs or something like that, or quitting cigarettes. It's like nobody can tell you to do it. Nobody's gonna be like, you look at this hole in my throat, dude. You should totally stop smoking. You know how many commercials I saw, like growing up, and how many just say no things and just all that kind of stuff. That didn't work for me. No, I had to come to an edge, and make a decision, to jump or to swim, or to fly. No, just you have to make a choice, you know, and then you got to stick to the choice. And if you fall off the choice, you got to get back on that fucking choice. You're gonna get on that choice harder than before, you know. But right away, I'm still working on several of those choices, except for cigarettes or drinking. There's certain choices I made that just stuck. But they were important choices. Life or death choices. Smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol for me were life or death choices. I loved smoking cigarettes, by the way. I loved it. Always loved smoking cigarettes. But I always had bronchitis and asthma as a kid. I started smoking when I was like in the 2nd grade because my older brothers would force me to smoke. So I got kind of hooked on that shit like way too early. And just the idea of it being cool, because if I could inhale the cigarette, I was cool in my brother's eyes. And I had 3 older brothers, so it was just like that my entire life. They got me into drugs like speed and weed and alcohol, anything. I would even like get high off my inhalers once my brother told me that that's what he used to do. Like, talk about bad influences. But I was very, you know, I was a smart kid, and I knew right from wrong and stuff. But I also never wanted to be like a square. Like, I was very polite and very nice little kid, but at the same time, there was always like this little rebel in me that wanted to like, because my dad was like a square. He was like a bully, and he was just kind of like he demanded, he wasn't really kind to us in the ways you'd expect. But it made me crave it. He made me crave that in other ways. And if it meant getting it from kids who were telling me to do things that were wrong and getting attention in that way, that's definitely what I was gonna do. Plus, my older brother Gabe was like a little thief and stuff, so like I emulated him like crazy. So I didn't see other kids that were bad as bad kids like my dad would have, maybe, because he would just call all those kids pukes. Anybody that was poor or that were brown skinned were pukes. Just a term my dad would say all the time. Those freaking pukes. So strange. Which means somebody growing up was saying that around him or something, you know? Because my dad's dad was 100 times more awful than my own father. So that's how that shit works, usually. And that's why I don't have kids. I don't deserve them, and they're better off without me, that's for sure. I can't even be an uncle. I can't even like tell my niece to, hey, please don't say that your family hates you on Facebook, and then she cancels me. She blocks me. And she's like 8 months pregnant. I can't even like criticize my niece for the first time in her entire life. And I didn't, yeah. It's not worth it. Where am I going with this? I was just babbling. I feel like that old man sometimes. Get off my lawn. And this paper is so much better than that other one. armpit hair. It looks like little fingers. Under that armpit, I actually have like this little, I don't even know what the hell it is. It's like a pimple or something that just comes back. It gets irritated and gets infected sometimes, and it really hurts. It's like the most painful thing ever. I felt it this morning, and I feel like that's why maybe I drew that in there. I hate blemishes like that, or like little things that get infected in the worst spots. Like it's like getting a cut on like the joint of one of your fingers where it just like keeps opening every time you move your hand. This is just something I'm sort of working on an in-betweener because I have to start a commission on a piece for my friend John from Boise for his band Mantooth. I want to get that done as soon as possible after I finished Ellen's, pretty much. This is Ellen's. She commissioned this, and basically, the glare. Sorry. I'm stretching. Oh gosh, it feels good to stretch. Okay, but yeah, so I just have a little bit more on this one to finish up, and then I'll be happy, and I'll send it to her. Just gonna have to wait a few more days though, because of the holiday. So yeah, this is when I just finished up, and then I'm gonna make John's and then send it to him. But then I have a few other things. I have to start like sketching out an idea for a mural at this business in Atascadero. I've never done a mural before, and I have to like find out how much it would cost to make it. I'm kind of tripping out because I don't know how much that kind of stuff costs. Because it would take me a while to do it, you know. And I just want to be like, how about $4,000? Or something like that. Because it's going to take a while. But plus, now I have a full-time job. It's just, this is the kind of work I wish I was getting, like, when I didn't have a day job. Because I feel like if I could have just sustained myself on these jobs, then I could have started making art my job. And I guess I still can, but the pet shop people, my bosses and stuff, they really rely on me right now. Because I'm like one of the few employees that has any knowledge in that world. But I can also work at all the stores, so like eventually I might go down to part-time if I can start doing art more. But that's the goal anyways, you know. That was my goal, and then I was kind of forced to find a day job a few months ago, and it kind of put a wrench in like all of my plans. Because I thought I was gonna make it through until like December without having to need a job with my funds and stuff, and then that sort of weirdly fell through, and so I was forced to like look for a job super quick, and I was like finding all these shitty jobs, and I was just devastated, and I wouldn't go back to them and stuff. I'm just like, this is crazy. And then like on the day when I had just quit another job because I just could not go back to this kennel and work. So I let them know and everything, but I just felt terrible, and I was just gonna go for a drive and just sulk somewhere. But that was the day my aunt went into the pet store, and she was like, hey, my nephew's looking for work if you guys need some help. And the guy was like, send him in, I want to talk to him. And then that was like, that day I got hired. and it's just like the best job ever. They're so cool. And I'm gonna be working by myself in Cambria today at the store from like 10 to 6 or something. They close at 6. So I'll be there from 10 o'clock to 6. And there's a video I just made that just got all these stupid likes. It's not likes, but views. It got a lot of likes too, actually. It got it got a lot of likes. More for me, you know. It's like 3,000 views or something. And for me, that's like a million times a billion or something like that views. Because I'm just a lowly little one man band over here. But yeah, in that video, it's one I just did a few days ago. It's called customer service. I'm at the pet store that I'm going to today, and so I might try to like film another one really quick today, just like some kind of customer service oriented one. Because that day I think it was like that. Like some lady was in the store and she was like, "What do you have for small dogs?" And I was like, "Oh, like food?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, well, you know, that's a loaded question, you know." But she was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, well, the small dogs are over here." And then she's like, "Well, what about big dogs?" And I'm like, what do you mean? Everything else is like, what do you, huh?" And then she's like, "Well, I have cats too." And I'm like, "Oh my God, lady, like, slow down." Like, if you've worked customer service, that's just like a daily occurrence that happens 30 times. But it's, plus the shop is a little bit more touristy than others because it's right on the ocean. It's like across the street from the ocean. I mean, I can't see the ocean from where I work, but I know where I am, and it's like the most wonderful, stupid place to work. I don't mean the shop is stupid. I mean, like, Cambria itself, it's like stupid wonderful. It's like I feel giddy like a dumbass when I go there because it's just like it's just such a cool little like weird artsy ocean town, and I get to work there from time to time. It's so cool in a little pet store where people walk in and it's like I pretty much know what I'm talking about. It's not like I just started working there and don't know anything about the products or that kind of thing either. But no, I know quite a bit, and it's just a matter of like knowing where the products are most of the time because every shop they have 4 shops, and I work at 3 of them, and they're all a little bit different. So it's like if somebody's like, "Hey, do you have this like squirrel that squeaks and like flips the dog off as it's running away up a tree kind of thing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we have that right up." Oh my God, where is it? you know. So I'm like the dog, like sniffing out that little squirrel, like to flip me off. Yeah, find you, little son of a. They call it the bird squirrel, flipping the bird squirrel. It's kind of funny, or the flying bird, or the flying squirrel. Shit, I messed that joke up. The flipping bird squirrel, flipping squirrel. I'm just kidding. There's no such thing. But there are such things out in nature, so watch out for them because they will flip you off and distract you, and you will get in a car wreck. Believe me. So I'm expecting people to be pretty cool today too, and in good mood because around this time of year, especially like in a little pet shop, and I play like Celtic music and stuff, so it's like really, it sounds very Christmassy and stuff, and like holidaysy or whatever you call it. Because people don't even talk about Thanksgiving anymore. It's just this is like pre-Christmas now. It's which is fine. I hate labels so much. I don't even like putting labels on holidays. It's just like, oh, that's the one. Oh yeah, the one day that we get together every year. Yeah, yeah, let's do that or whatever. You know, it's just I don't even care. Like that. What does it matter? People get all upset, bent out of shape. Like, hap- oh, they're saying happy holidays now. It's like, what's wrong with happy holidays? Like, there's a bunch of different people in this country, and there's a lot of us celebrate different holidays. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with that? I say Merry Christmas too, you stupid ass. God damn it, happy holidays, you piece of shit. Um, you know what I'm getting at, folks. I'm just trying to be real here. Hey, this guy. Ever do wolves? Oh, okay, shit. I thought you were talking about the pet shop or something. Because there's this one guy that came in one day, and he's like, y'all, y'all carry any Mancoons? And I was like, excuse me? He's like, Mancoons. You guys carry Mancoons? And I'm like, no, we don't sell animals. We just sell pet food and supplies. Do you know anybody who needs any Mancoons? I'm like, what? No, get out of here. And he's like, I'm gonna Mancoon your ass, you son of a bitch. I'm like, what? And he's like, nothing. I'll see you later. And he like laughed. It was really weird. But yeah, no. I have drawn wolves. One of the first pieces I ever did has a wolf in it. and I got some, and they have like at the places I work at, they have Mancoon cat towers and stuff. Like they are so giant. It's like for bobcats, you know. It'd be so cool. Like my cat, she would absolutely love one of those things because she's a maniac. But but Mancoon cat like houses and things like that are so freaking cool. But yeah, and let me. I could even probably try to find it really quick. But I drew. I actually have a book still that I actually took it from my dad. I think because I sometimes when I draw, I don't like ripping pages out of books. Because back in high school we had magazines and stuff, and you could just rip pages out of them and do a drawing of whatever you know what you were doing, and it was like a known thing. You could just cut pages out and just whatever. And then I started doing that with other things like later on in life, like after high school, in books, and then I stopped because it just felt weird doing that in books. So I would just like instead of ripping the pages out, I just take the whole book. And so I have these books from my dad's library. He had like wildlife books and stuff that I was using as a reference. I have one on birds. Here it is. Here it is. Oh, I don't know if I can show it because I'll probably get copywritten. I'm sure I will, actually. I can't even show it. My dad did draw. My dad and my grandpa and my great grandmother apparently was an oil painter, and I never no don't even know what she looked like, let alone never seen any of her paintings. My grandpa was in World War II, and he was a pilot, and was in those bombers and stuff, you know. And when they were going on these like missions and stuff, you know, he always carried journals with them, and apparently he was always drawing. And none of my family that has his belongings, like my dad's side of the family, ever still this to this day has like shown me those drawings or those books, or ever thought that it would be important to me as like just in the form of, you know, a legacy because of how much I draw, that I would think that it would be worthwhile to see any of those. And I don't talk to that side of my family anymore for many reasons. But mainly because I tried for 20 years and they just never never talked to me, ever reached out to me. Except to tell me when people were dying. And then, or to not invite me to people's funerals, like my grandpa, which I wasn't even invited to his funeral. The only person that made any sense to me out of my whole family, even though he kicked me out of his house for smoking weed. I still loved his ass. Sorry, this guy, I didn't mean to get all dramatic. It's just that time of year, I guess, too, right? You too, man. You be safe, and I hope you stay warm and your family stays warm and happy until the end of their lives. I really mean that. And I hope their lives are long. I don't mean... It almost could have been taken in a dark way. Oh, until the end of their lives. Nah, but I mean it. So I'm probably gonna go too, because that's what I'm gonna do. And thanks for hanging out, everybody. I really appreciate it. Till Sunday. I don't know what I'm thinking about. But I know everybody has a lot on their minds, so just take it easy on everybody out there today. And take it easy on yourself. Cut yourself some slack. Take some deep breaths. Breathe in through the nostrils. Breathe out through the mouth. Really slowly a few times. Whatever you're going through, it's going to be okay. Time doesn't necessarily heal all wounds, but it helps you get through them, you know. So you have friends, just find them, okay? Take care.